Ladies and gents, welcome back to The Random. It's your host, Smallwood Worldwide. We're back again with another video, and welcome to our TakeOff Sports Talk segment. As you can see, we have the Goodman brothers in the building. Shout out to T, Greg, and Aj. Welcome back to our season ticket holders episode, or as we like to call it, front row seats. Listen, let's start off. Officials, playoffs are here. March Madness is here. As you know, it's been a great game. However, sometimes the officials kind of impede the progress of said game with a lot of these foul calls, technical foul calls. You see a lot of your favorite star players sitting on the bench early in games, right? And not necessarily for a regular foul, but sometimes what may be deemed a ticky-tack foul. Greg, we're going to start with you. Should officials have to tone down some of their calls in March Madness, in the NBA playoffs, or even the NFL, as we saw, during the Super Bowl as well? What are your thoughts there?
My thoughts are, you got to let them play. But you have to do it's not so much that the officiating has been extra ticky-tacky. It's just that it's been extra bad. I can take you back to the LeBron James. Like, if you're going to call some fouls and give superstar breaks and all that stuff, like, one of the worst fouls that I've ever seen a superstar not get is the LeBron James call when he was playing against the Celtics.
Oh, yeah. That was
bad. Yeah.
That was pretty
bad.
So
it's not. I mean, of course, during the playoffs, I think they should go ahead and swallow that whistle and let them play it out. We'll see if they do. As of late, it seems like these referees have gotten an ego, man. They're acting like, you acting like we played, season tickets to go see you guys run up and down the court and do nothing. But it's silly to me that they would even be that involved in the game to that extent, especially a playoff game. I just hope they got out all the bad calls during the season. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a process where they pick out the best refs, and then they all get to do the playoffs and everything. And let's just hope that they actually did the right thing and got the right people involved. But it's not that the ticky-tack fouls, it's just bad officiating. They need to be better. And I don't understand how that happens. We got more cameras than ever, and we got more referees running up and down there than ever. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm assuming there's going to be at least 3 or 4 good old-fashioned blown calls, at least in the first round. Second, third rounds, they might get better. First round, I'm expecting horribleness.
Aj, what you got for us?
Man, relax, man. First of all, I root for the refs. So, I don't know what these guys are. No,
you got your ref jersey on?
I got a ref jersey in the back right now, but and I do my taxes for other people. I think the only thing that I would say is I only look for one thing out of the referees, and that's consistency. That's really the long and short of it. I think that a referee should let people know how they're going to call the game prior to the game, so that way it's not an illusion. So if they say, "Hey, we're going to let you guys play this game," then I would expect, as a player, if I was out there, for them to let us play. That means you complain if you get smacked up and nothing's called. If they say we're going to play this straight up, then that means that, you should expect that, But whatever it is, it has to maintain consistency throughout the game. Even if it's at the end of the game, if you know it's an obvious foul, you got to call it, because if it's inconsistent, is the only time when people will really get upset and complain. If it seems one way on one side, where a big guy will get slapped and they don't call anything because the guy is smaller, and the other guy runs down the court and he may or may not get hit, but they call it right away, that's when people are like, yo, it's just being unfair towards me. You know what I mean? So it's really just a matter of it being consistent. And that's really the long and short of it. So I think that from what I've seen, the referees they've had some bad calls this year. Like, in general, it's been some pretty bad calls. But I mean, refereeing has never been more difficult than it is now, because of just how much faster the players are and things they have to look for in the game. Rules change all the time as well. But, with all that being said, I think that the one thing that we need out of the referees is just consistency. That's it.
Well, they are. They're consistently inconsistent.
Inconsistent is bad.
That's not what I meant. That's not. But I mean, like, if you're gonna be bad the whole game, right? Don't turn a quarter in where you're like, oh, these guys are calling everything right, because then you can't adjust to playing, right? If they called it bad from the start, then you're like, okay, well, they're not calling anything. Let's just go out and play.
The only ones I've ever seen them really adjust to is Draymond Green. Draymond Green seems to be able to. The refs, it's almost like they know him and they know what he's going to do, and they kind of let some things slide as far as him yelling at them and everything else. There's a handful of players that get more benefit of the doubt.
But that's consistent, right? Like, that's what I mean.
It's consistent
with Draymond, where you're like, okay, well, Draymond can say that, but I can't say it because that's Draymond, right? Not to say that he doesn't necessarily get special treatment, but he gets treated like Draymond because that's how if they treated him like everyone else, he'd never play. So,
exactly.
So they're like, we got to let him.
They treat Draymond Green like Lonzo treats Eazy-E. He goes, I'll take that from you, Eazy-E, but the rest of you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're a real one. You're a real one, Draymond. I'll take that from you, but Steph, you better watch out.
Key, what you got for us here?
Yeah, those are good points. Consistency is definitely a good point. I will add the word fairness to it. Odd was just kind of laying out where if they call the game, I'll say tough one way and then easy the other, the idea of things being unfair, it is, I guess, not just visible to the fans, but the players feel it too, and that starts to reflect in their gameplay. Say for me personally, I think they should pull things back a little bit during those times. And the reason for that is because the stakes are higher, right? If the stakes are higher, then people who want it are going to play harder. That's just what you do, right? It says, I want to win. I want to win it all. I want to be a champion. So if that is the case, they're going to go at it harder. And I think as, if you're in the midst of this competition, you have to know how to stand up to that, not depend on the referees to try to bail you out, right? You gotta stand up and be a man or a woman with whatever, whichever side of the sports world you lie on. But you've got to be able to rise that level of competition, right? So I think the refs should be like, okay, I understand what's at stake. I'm not going to insert myself too much. I just think they need to make sure that there's an understanding that, okay, people are going to be playing with all they have because they want to win. And if I call every little ticky-tack thing, it's going to mess the whole game up. So consistency, fairness, and I guess an understanding that we're going into the next level of competition. And that means you, as the mediator, you got to take a step back. Not 4 steps back, not 3 steps back, half step, 1 step, fine, but you need to let them go at it a little bit. That's how I feel about it.
I agree wholeheartedly. To bring it home for me, Chris Paul is 0-14 in the last playoff games, right? Against Scott Foster. That's not an accident, right?
That's right.
When I see some of these officials get in the game, they get all in the video when it's time for a foul call. They smiling, they're putting their hands up. They're there to be seen a little bit, right? And I think it should be held accountable that, look, the fans, your season ticket holders, again, name of the episode, people, we're here to see the players. So whether it's Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark in college, whether it's the NBA and it's Draymond Green and Steph Curry, we don't want to see unnecessary foul trouble. Like, it's the playoffs. It's going to be more physical. It's a different brand of basketball. It's a different brand of football. It's going to be a little more handsy, right? A foul is a foul. But in the playoffs, it should be understood that, you know what, Scott Foster, take a back seat a little bit. Let the players play. Because it's just a little suspicious when there are certain calls foul, right? Certain fouls called. Got a little tongue-tied there. Versus others that aren't called later on in the game. The LeBron one was just astoundingly bad, that the man had his whole wrist and there was no call. And so when he throws the tantrum, people are like, why is he throwing a tantrum? I'm like, do you know how bad that call was? And then you don't call anything. You go the other way. A guy might blow in the air and it's like, hey, there's a foul. That's your 3rd foul in the 2nd quarter. Now you got to sit. I just think that the more officials are held accountable, I'm talking about fines, just like the players, obviously within reason. You're not going to give a ref a $50,000 fine, but within whatever the reason is for them to have a fine, they should have that. It shouldn't be the last 2-minute report for the NBA comes out 2 days after the game and it's like, yeah, we missed that foul call on Arch, Sorry, Timberwolves, you don't win. It doesn't work that way. It's not good enough for me, and especially in a playoff scenario. We want to see the best and the brightest. We want to see them go at it. So I'm with everybody else, fair, and also just call a foul when it's a foul.
Antoine, that
Look.
made me think about when Fred VanVleet went off earlier this year.
I forgot about that.
I had forgotten
all
about it too, so
Fred
you said
VanVleet.
it.
You went, damn.
Yeah, he went crazy. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
He let
thought-
no.
I didn't
that,
mean to
that
derail you,
reminded
but
me of that.
it just reminded me of that. That's
He
all.
let
Yeah, I
the
thought
shot
Fred was
through.
gonna get suspended off of that one. He was not good with those calls.
Yeah.
No, because it changes your season. You know, you might be 1 or 2 games out of a play-in game or from a 5 or 6 seed or whatever. And you know, you don't want to play the 2 seed because you match up better with the 4 seed or whatever. And it's like, yo, why are you calling these fouls? You making it bad. And then when they call fouls down the stretch, it's even worse. That like is the ref, you know, they're promoting more gambling in the game. You're like, man, do we have a bunch of Tim Donaghy's out here? What are we doing? They're really trying to determine the outcome.
Yeah, chill, bro. Chill, bro.
But look,
Mm.
we could talk about this all day. We could fight about this all day. Let's pivot into the next topic here, right? NBA fights, right? It's not NBA Street, but sometimes, you know, players get into it. Things are said that probably shouldn't be said. And, you know, you might get hit by the Stifle Tower. What are your thoughts on potentially making sure that, look, if you want to deter NBA players from fighting, let them fight. In other words, hockey. Hockey is notorious where 2 guys get into it. They let them take off the pads, the gloves, and they go at it for an undisclosed amount of time before they break it up and then they go to a penalty box or whatever. On a rare occasion, ejected. Do you think the NBA should let some of these players like throw down for a moment or two? Especially in baseball where bench is clear. I mean, I can go down sport for sport. You know, there's a lot of fights that happen and they seem to be okay. But the NBA, the minute one push, one shove, they get in between them. And baseball players, by the way, they don't wear pads like football players, right? So again, should the NBA allow fights for an undisclosed amount of time before breaking it up? And do you think that would deter fights from happening? Aj, I'm starting with you.
No, I don't think they should. I don't think they should. Listen, I love the old clips of the Bad Boys and Larry Bird getting pieced up by Dr. J as much as anybody. But I mean, like more even. But I think that 2 things I think play a big factor. The first one is kind of a reference to something that happened a long time ago. I think it was Kermit Washington when he almost
Rudy Tomjanovich.
When he almost killed Rudy Tomjanovich with a stiff right hand. And they had to call the ambulance, come pick up your people. You know what I mean? Like that was one. That's one of them. But the second one, the second reason, and it's the reason for most anything in America, is they Black, man. Like there's a lot of Black dudes. The white dudes that are in there aren't regular white dudes. They war-torn white dudes. That's not a good scenario.
War-torn.
Yeah, I mean, like nobody wants it with Jokic for real. Like, I mean, like people can, but nobody wants that. You know,
his brothers either. Saw them on the bench.
No.
Like,
Yeah, you don't want any. You don't want it. Like you know how some people use that phrase, you put the pause on it. That's a real thing with them. Like they be fighting bears and stuff. You don't want any of that. They grew up. They grew up off of like struggle sandwiches and nuke fumes. I don't deal with guys like that. I don't deal with guys like that. So it's like, you know, you got those Europeans who smoke a pack a day and can still run 48 minutes. It's like I don't want to deal with that either. You know?
What up, Luca?
But long story short, I mean, like these guys, much like anything when you get older, the consequences of doing such an activity, it could be much more dire, especially when you have people who have different. Like there's some of those guys in there who actually are like boxing enthusiasts and you know, fight enthusiasts, and they go out and do that when they get, if they can get away with it in their contract. Like Damian Lillard trains for boxing just to be in shape. So the wrong person just run up on kids run up. Carmelo used to do the same thing. You people run up on Carmelo, you go out and get 2-piece, you know? So it's like, I don't know, man. I think it's a bad idea because America would not stand for it. America hates when Black athletes do anything. If they fight, they're gonna hate that even more. So that's
Fight for your right. Stand your ground. Anything Black, like don't do that. I'm gonna jump in here before I let T and Greg take us home on this topic, right? So, in a rare disagreement, I'm gonna go the opposite way. You know what I don't like? I don't like players who pump fake. So there's a lot of players I feel like they really don't want to fight, but they'll come up and let's say they'll like shove you, right? Because they know that people are gonna get in between them. But what would happen if like they did that and you know what? You get to 2-piece him. He's got to live with that in front of his family, his girl, the fans. People gonna start shouting that at the free throw line. They might actually think twice about that. We know the game is physical. We know there's arguments, trash talking, or whatever. That happens at Rutgers, it happens in the NBA, it happens on the AAU circuit. It's going to happen. I love that. We all love that as part of the game. But the physicality where cats are like taking cheap shots and like smacking people in the back of the head. I'm trying to remember one of the guys for the Miami Heat had smacked Ben Simmons in the back of the head. I'm like, come on, man. Like, that's not. what are you doing?
I remember that.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like,
that was back in the day. Ben Simmons was out there serving up a piping hot can of whip ass.
He was.
Ben Simmons was just eating that game. He was.
And then you got Madden smacked him in the back of the head.
Dude slapped him in the back of the head, man.
He didn't even try to foul him. He just like smacked him. I'm like, bro, what if Simmons just turned around and yoked you up? He's like 6'10". Young buck, come on.
I don't even know if Simmons had the ball when he slapped him. I think it was after he scored, he was running back. He just slapped him.
He did. That's what I'm saying.
That's even crazier. It's like Patrick Beverly. It
was that
sneak attack Pat. Sneak attack Pat.
Childish is what it was.
But I feel like at the end of the day, right, but there is Pat Beverly does a lot of that. You remember Chris Paul, right? Chris Paul has his back turned, walking back to the huddle. He's eating him alive. He walks up and shoves that man down. Now, what I take umbrage at is the fact that his teammates just acted like it was a normal thing. Nobody stood up. That's another conversation, but it's like they didn't even stand. They didn't even try to get in between. It was like, hey man, thanks, but no. It's something that if you stop people from thinking that they're going to be protected from the fight, I think you'll stop the fights and you'll get a much better quality of game. Personal opinion, unpopular opinion. Listen, if you knew for a fact that if you run up on Melo, right, and you talk and you talk, which is cool, but if you cross the line like old buddy did on the sideline with Gobert, we're not going to repeat what he said to him, but he called him something about 3-4 times in a row, like it was not a thing. You might get smacked or punched or two-pieced or something like that, you know, and you might think twice about some of the level of disrespect that you're doing, because I feel like some of these younger players, they know they can kind of be a habitual line stepper because there's no consequences. See, the game that we grew up watching, what I call the golden era of the NBA, the 80s, the 90s, you know, the very early 2000s, you know, it was a physical game. It got progressively less physical, but in the 80s, nobody was going to run up on Dr. J and like try to mush him in the face. You knew what was coming back. I think it was a rookie that ran up on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar that day. He got, you know, you saw what he got to the stomach. Yeah. It was just like, oh, that's how we doing it. I'm gonna show you. T, what you got for us on this? What do you think?
Y'all make some interesting points, but I think I'm more on I was all the way with odds, but you're I do like people not being able to get away with being punks, but I will say that if somebody really wants to fight, I don't think that they could be stopped from fighting. So if somebody walks up on Melo, no one's going to be able to stop him from executing if he really wants to beat the person down, right? So I'm still on Odds' side, but like I didn't think about the punk angle. You know, people back of the head and all that kind of stuff. That stuff is just Bush League.
One of the Euro players, I can't remember. What was his name? Do you remember off the top?
Say it again.
The guy for the Miami Heat. I was asking Greg if he remembered the guy's name.
Oh no, I don't remember his name.
Drago.
Oh, Dragic.
Dragic.
Yeah, Dragic. Yes, Dragic. Yes, it was Dragic.
Dragic did it.
Yeah.
He wore torn, yo. Don't touch it, man. He wore torn.
Yeah. I felt bad for Ben Simmons. I'm like, you just scored, you having a great game, and it's like
wore torn, yo. Don't do it, man. He wore torn.
He did it because he knows Ben is not gonna do anything, right? I mean, and I don't think it's about people jumping in the middle. I think most of those guys they're just not fighters. Like if somebody gets upset enough, even today, they're gonna fight, right? I mean, and by the time you get in the middle, somebody's already been hit. I mean, you talk about Chris Paul when him and Rondo got into it. It was people pulled them apart, but they were throwing for
Chris Childs and Kobe.
Chris Childs and Kobe. Yeah. Yeah, that
Kobe glitched out, yo. He didn't know he was hit for a second. He's like, wait, I got 2 pieces. Oh, respond.
Yeah. He knocked Kobe's afro and jersey number off. He had to switch. He got a haircut in New Jersey after that ass with him.
He woke up in 24.
Yeah.
Chris Childs said he said, I'm gonna take off on you. You keep doing that. Then I did it again. I took off. I took off.
See,
Hit another turnaround.
that's
on me
what I'm
if you
saying.
want.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If somebody wants to do it, if somebody really wants to fight, there's nobody that's going to be able to stop them.
Yeah.
What would be nice is if the penalty wasn't like crazy severe. If the person is instigated to fight, somebody's in the back of the head and you respond, you shouldn't get 6 months unpaid leave or whatever.
Nah.
It needs to be a reasonable fine, but I don't think they should allow them to fight. And part of the reason, I'll even go to the basketball aspect of it. If you make a culture where there's fighting, now you got to have a goon on your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of changes the complexion of your team. It changes the game a little bit, right? So I'm gonna say to keep it the way it is, more on the side of keeping it the way it is, but maybe make the penalties less severe for retaliatory punches that are thrown. Anyway.
Facts. I got a bonus round for us, but we gotta let Greg chime in first. Go ahead, G.
What you got? Yeah, mine's gonna be quick. Y'all covered everything. Yeah, you got to just change up the dynamics of your team if you're gonna allow fighting to happen. That's it. If they're gonna let fighting go, then you're gonna have to. You can't have it where it's got to be like the '90s playoffs where you can have a bench clearing brawl and then everybody just back on the court like after the scrum is over. It's just like jump ball, and then you just start all the way back over again like nothing happened. Because I vividly remember Ron Harper running. I think it was Scottie Pippen or somebody running them halfway down the court and slamming them, and then the whole Jeff Van Gundy hanging off Alonzo Mourning's leg. Like these are the days,
Yeah.
PJ Brown.
PJ Brown. He got a big heart. He's got a big heart.
That was your boy Ward, right? That was your boy.
Yeah,
that was great.
So if you do that, there's 2 or 3 things that got to happen. If you're gonna allow people to be able to get it on and scrap, you gotta bring goons in there.
I mean, like what we're really asking is, do you want to see Charles Oakley or do you want to see Steph Curry? I mean, like that's the real. Who's more entertaining to you? I'm gonna tell you right now.
Well, like I said, you can still have Steph Curry, but you gonna need Charles Oakley.
No, because
put it like this.
If Steph start doing that little stuff that he does where he's shooting, turn around, someone's gonna come up and hit him, gonna clean him out. Yeah.
But look, somebody thought Steph was a punk. Like last season of the season, they didn't make the playoffs, and Steph had to let him know, hey, listen, don't let this light skin fool you. He was ready.
I'm not saying it like Steph is a punk. What I'm saying is that you would need somebody to counteract what would come for Steph because Steph's not. I mean, like, this is to tell you how gangster Reggie Miller was. Reggie Miller was doing that when people was running up on you. So that's a different breed.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I'm not saying, well, nobody here saying Steph Curry's a punk, but Steph Curry ain't Isaiah Thomas either. Isaiah Thomas done swung on Giants repeatedly.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He swung on Giants. Allen Iverson, I remember he tried to choke out Dennis Rodman, which is crazy. Because Allen Iverson is what, 5'10", 170, maybe?
He's my height.
At his heaviest? Yeah, that's, But regardless, there's too many factors in allowing people to fight that are going to be bad for business. Because they are black, they're just going to call it a thug league. That's just straight off rip. That's going to lose sponsorship money and everything else. 2, I said it changes the dynamic of the teams. Right now, it's a real finesse game, and I don't mind it going back to what it was in the 90s. But like, if you're gonna allow people to get bodied up, you're gonna have to call up Kendrick Perkins and put him back in the league.
But I like that because hockey has enforcers. If you listen, hockey, you're gonna need that in basketball enforcers on the team. You should have that.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of dudes in the 90s that wouldn't make teams today. The reason they made it is because people needed some protection. Like, I don't think Charles Oakley's a bad player. I don't think Charles Oakley would be. I don't think he fits the mold of what the NBA is today. So I don't even know if he's in the league.
I think he's a glass eater who could survive today, but he was so much known for his hands that him. Yeah.
And plus, you don't want to come across someone like Jerry Stackhouse and make a mistake.
Oh no!
You want them problems?
No!
You don't want to catch them stacks.
No.
Make a mistake.
There's some dudes that are talkers and some dudes that are real doers in the league. Like, you don't want that problem with a young Steven Jackson. You don't want that.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to tell someone like Ron Artest back in his heyday before he was Meta World Peace that it might be okay to slap somebody. You're gonna take it too far.
But take it like this, right? That pivot, that's a perfect pivot.
Even further.
Right.
Ja, you gonna fight Ja? You know he packing. They can go real wrong real fast.
Listen, Gilbert Arenas fathered that, but no.
Yeah, he did.
Jarvis Crittenton just about to get out of prison because of stuff like that, yo. And they pull guns on each other. But I look at it like this: my bonus round for this topic, right? And you mentioned Ron Artest. I've heard some things. We've all been to games before. Now, again, I think trash talk to a player from a fan within reason. Cool. Boo. You missed a free throw. Brick. You caught whatever, something. I know that's lame, but you get my point. But some of the stuff that I hear from fans sometimes,
they're out of order.
It's way out of order. I heard
they're out of order.
Westbrook. I've heard things that LeBron.
Some of them need to get slapped.
Yeah. Do you think that words and or crossing a physical line where it led to like malice at the palace, right? Should the players really be suspended for something like that? Because for the longest time,
nope.
I thought the answer is no. If you work at whatever job you work at and somebody came in off the street, a fan, and they threw beer on you in your face, you're not going to just sit there and be like, that's Miller Lite, right? Like, no, you know what's going to happen. You know? So like, why are we expecting players, right, who train hard for the game that they play, but this is their job, right? You get to come watch them work, essentially, right? And if you're Kobe and you're going for 60 and then a fan just decides to throw popcorn on the court or a piece of ice and you slip and tear your ACL or something, right? Westbrook, I think, got hurt like that on the court because the thing was messed up. How do you punish the player? Does anybody want to jump in on that? Just real quick?
You don't punish the player.
Well, I agree.
You punish the fan. You get that person who don't know how to act up out of that stadium. He can't come back. He's done. And the reason being is this: we're going back to the punk factor.
Yeah.
You know good and well that old Mitch from accounting would never in his life say anything like that to one of those dudes that they're walking down the street.
Saving Mitch.
Yeah.
Money saving Mitch.
Money saving Mitch is not going to come up to Chris Paul and start popping off. It's not going to happen. Plus, like I said, a lot of the things that they're saying is way off kilter. It's way out of bounds.
Yeah.
With these dudes. If you want to keep it about the game, keep it about the game. Keep it about the sport. Don't start talking about somebody's mom and calling them that. Come on, man.
I'll say this. I think that everything that you guys said is right, but I think that you have to hold them responsible. Not necessarily suspend them, but they have to be held responsible in some way, just so they don't overreact to everything. Not to say that if this happened with them walking around, they wouldn't have every right to beat the snot out of Mitch from accounting. But I mean,
yeah.
But you can't just let them have a free will to do whatever they want and not suspend them or fine them or something like that. There has to be some accountability on there. Just if for nothing else, just to make it look like something's going on, even if you think they're
all I'm saying is a dude should not be in trouble because somebody's talking crazy to his wife in the front row.
I don't disagree.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Suspended for running up in the stands and cracking someone in their face for saying something crazy to the man's wife. You know,
I think one of the twins in the league used to play like that. Antonio Davis or something like that. He ran up in the stand in one of the Knicks games or something. He's like, he threatening his wife. Like, what do you do with that? Get him out of here.
Yeah.
The fan, I mean. Get the fan out.
No, I don't disagree.
Players should be, because we're talking about guys that are actually, they're human beings.
But
these are
Greg, what I'm saying is like
emotions.
What I'm saying in that instance is the fine would be, hey man, you can't run in the stands. It's not, hey, you shouldn't confront the guy for talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying.
Right. But I feel like they shouldn't lose $100,000 because a fan called, you a pussy ass bitch and then threw a popcorn at your face, right?
Well, I mean, you can appeal. You publicize it's $100,000 fine. You let them appeal and you give them $2,000.
I'm gonna do the rare Kyrie Irving defense here. When Kyrie Irving gave those fans the finger, I don't see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm fine with it. They were talking crazy to Kyrie. Kyrie gave him the finger. I feel like that's in bounds for Kyrie, considering the things that they probably said to that man.
Facts. T, you got anything for us on that? Or
yeah, I mean the all of our sports stuff is set up like gladiatorial games, right? Everybody's there to watch these tremendous, incredible athletes compete and go at it. My opinion, if you go down into the gladiatorial ring, you get. Somebody beats the hell out of you, or what, that's on you. And fam, like your wife and stuff and your kids, that's an extension of the arena to me. If somebody puts their hands on your wife or something like that, you shouldn't get in any trouble. I understand where they have to, basically find the players because, like you guys have mentioned before, the demographics of the league are such that, you have to make it look like there's still order, right? So that I guess the optics of that become important, but saying crazy stuff and all that is one thing, but if they step foot down there, they put their hands on you or something, they throw something at you, that's different. I think that's different.
I'm fine with people yelling, "No, you're a bum! I can't believe you missed that." Stuff like that. Once it goes past that kind of stuff, yeah. When it starts getting personal,
Utah.
Utah.
Yeah, exactly.
They've had so many
when you start dropping N-bombs, when you have white dudes dropping N-bombs on players in Boston and everything else, I was like, okay, you're gonna have to get them up out of here.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately will leave like 12 people in the stands in Boston because it's super racist out there.
What'd you say, T?
I said, speaking of referees, don't they hear these comments too? Can't they do something?
They should, but a lot of times until a player reacts, they don't do anything. Yeah. I think they should stop games and get fans up out of there at that point, because you would never jump in the ring where Tyson or any of these fighters or Mayweather or somebody is fighting and, like, number one, try to get in their way and confront them. You wouldn't. Heckling has its place to a degree. MMA, the same thing. Nobody's jumping in the octagon to try to confront John Jones and be like, hey, you're this, and this. It's not going to happen. We've seen fans get tortured for less in other sports trying to propose on a baseball field. Yeah. Prime Ray Lewis security was like, take that. Right? So I think trash talk is part of the game, right? Again, as season ticket holders, we expect it. We enjoy it. Now, let's talk about trash talk within reason. If you're a player, you're having a great game. Your opponent is not having a great game. We don't know what was exchanged pre-game, lack of handshake, maybe it's a lack of respect, maybe it's a rivalry. What do we think about where Angel Reese had the ability to, ignore pretty much all season long, but catalog what was being said about her? And another player, National Player of the Year, Caitlin Clark, who was out there balling up through the tournament and came up a little short as a team, right, in the finals, right? But Angel Reese trash talked her a bit, chased her down with it. I loved it. I think a lot of fans enjoyed it, but there was outrage behind that. Why are people so outraged with women talking trash in sports, but with the men, it's another thing? Aj, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts there?
Well, because the society we live in is a patriarchal society. I think that's probably honestly, the long and short of it. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought that, I think that, anybody who has significant others of any sort in their lives, if you do a certain competition with that person, you hear them say all kinds of stuff that you would never expected them to say, start talking crazy to somebody. So, like, it's just that I think that's human nature to talk trash when you're doing certain things, especially at a level like that. And I think that the only problem with that certain people had with trash talking was who was doing it to whom. And I think that's the long and short of it. You know what I mean? Like, one of them, they'll say they're gutsy and they're what a performer because they just look at how they look. She's a thin white girl who's hitting shots from the parking lot. She seems like an underdog, scrappy person. It looked like Hoosiers with women. But, the other one's like 6'8" from Baltimore. Like, so it looks a certain way. But,
blocking shots with a shoe in her hand. Like, give me that.
Well, yeah, well, it looked like the underdog was getting talked down to somebody that they were just like, oh, this already lost bad enough. But if anybody had watched any women's college basketball at all this season, they would know that she's not only a shit talker, but she's a killer too. Like, she's like an absolute killer, and she's been killing people all year. So it's like she didn't take offense to it because game recognizes game, and I think that's all that was. And not to mention, that's all that's going to do is have more people tune into the next time that they play. So I mean, I don't
9.9 million.
Yeah,
record.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, look, man, this whole thing about the whole women, it's not women talking trash, it's black women talking trash. Okay, white women been talking trash in sports consistently. Everyone loves Ronda Rousey. She talked big trash. Nobody had a problem with it when white girl Steph Curry, I forget her name. I always mess up her name. She's what's the white girl's name that was on Iowa?
Caitlin Clark.
That's it. Caitlin Clark. Nobody had a problem with Caitlin Clark talking crazy, including black people. That's part of the game. Right. It's just what it is. Larry Bird talked all the crap. Nobody was like, "Well, that's out of order, Mr. Bird." It's what happens when you're playing. The girls' soccer team, the U.S. soccer team.
Oh,
they don't talk big trash.
Talk crazy.
They always bumping.
They talk crazy.
They're always bumping their mouths. But the only people I've ever seen get called out for any kind of trash talk, black girls that are running track.
I'm about to say the track runners always get called.
Yeah, black girls that are running track, they get called out for craziness. They get called ratchet and ghetto. And black girls that play basketball called ratchet and ghetto and everything else. It's the same thing. So this is not more of a female thing. This is more of a race thing to me.
Do you think there's a theme behind that? I mean, like, I don't know. I can't connect the dots.
I cannot.
I don't know.
I don't see color. I don't see color.
Black women talk trash.
This whole thing is black and white. But yeah, it's not about the females talking crap. It's black women talking crap. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware about black women, but nobody talks better shit than them. They're top-notch. They're top-notch shit talkers. Like this is gonna happen. It happens in day-to-day life, baby. This is just what it is. This is not shocking to me. It's more shocking to see the white girls talking crazy on Badlands sports and stuff. I'm like, oh, where did that princess get that confidence from? But black women, that's just what it is. I don't know one black woman that don't talk crazy smack. Not one. It's appreciated and respected. It's just what it is. So like I said, this isn't a woman thing. This is more of a race thing than a woman thing to me. Because I've seen white women talking trash all through sports since it's been inducted. In fact, even though what's her name, taking it all the way back, Cheryl
Miller. Yeah,
Cheryl Miller. They used to chastise Cheryl Miller for talking smack, but that's what it was. You couldn't stop her. If you wanted to stop talking, to beat her. That's it. Beat her.
That's not gonna happen.
How I look at it. If it ain't gonna happen, then you just need to sit back and enjoy all the talk.
That's like God and the devil being friends again. That can never happen. Cheryl Miller taking an L, man. You out of here.
Like I said, man, black women talking trash is what it is. I expect it and I appreciate it. Most of it's hilarious. So it's funny till it's about me. That's what But anyway, go ahead, yo. Moving on.
No, I jump in here, right? Real quick. I agree with both of your points there before we alley-oop hit a T to take us home. Trash talk is beautiful. It's a part of the game. It's all because it was a black woman talking trash. Softball players, I don't know if you all see women softball, they talk major trash in that game all the time. Soccer, football, same thing. So like when Angel Reese was talking trash, when Caitlin Clark is talking trash, Haley Van Lith, anybody. I love it. And I don't think there should be any outrage behind it. If you're a fan of sports, talking trash brings out the best in some of your favorite competitors. They get pissed off, they elevate their performance. So I think people should get used to it. I think the women should not tone it down. I think they should actually amp it up a bit. Skylar Diggins-Smith is another one notorious in the W. She talks that talk and backs it up. And, people are like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? And I'm like, she's having a great game. That's what she's doing. She's letting you know about it. She's letting the opponent know about it. And I just think that we got to embrace that more, and it allows us to move forward as a society. But all of the whole theme of this one can talk. Oh, that's cute. Caitlin Clark is waving off South Carolina because they can't hit threes. I mean, it's disrespectful as shit, but I love it because they couldn't do anything with it. Right? And then the next team comes in. If they wanted it to stop, they should have hit some threes, is what it is. LSU did. But again,
Yeah, in a big way.
yo, T, take us home on this.
Hit it with Tony Yayo.
Yup.
I'm with your Paisans. Everything you guys said, man, is dead on. I'll add one, I guess maybe one point. I think people that are real fans of the sport didn't have a problem with it. You know, you guys mentioned there was record number of people watching the game. I think that, you know, considering there's all these new eyes on it, I don't think that they were like big time fans of women's college basketball. I think they were big time fans of this age old us against them kind of rivalry. So they tuned in to see it. And when the trash talking happened, you know, it didn't sit well, right? Not only did we'll say the favorite lose, but they also had to hear about it right after. So, you know, like you guys were saying, trash talking is part of the game. It's part of competition. The players know it. You know, you didn't hear Caitlin belly aching about it. She's like, okay, well, she got me today. You know, that's just what it is.
Yeah, I feel bad for her because she's caught up in the middle of all this, and they're trying to make her seem like some kind of victim, and she's just like, look, this is the game. That's what it is.
She's like, if I would have won, if I won, I would have been talking. So it's like, that's what you get to do when you win. You get to talk your brand of ish, right? That's just how it goes. Yeah. So, you know, players know it, competitors know it, real fans know it. I think. And I think that, you know, the number of eyes that were on it that aren't normally on it is what caused us to be such a big thing. Most
deaf. Shout out to the LSU Tigers, and I hope they get to go to the White House without Iowa. Anyways,
yeah, let's talk about Jill Biden. Thank you.
Yo, chill, God, relax, God.
That's the craziest. Chill. Has she not seen sports before? Does she not know?
She's been to plenty of events, but she just saw Iowa and was like, "Listen, why don't you ladies come on through?" No, we're not doing that. Winners only, baby.
I was surprised. I was shocked.
I'm sorry, Iowa cannot come to the pancake social. They're not allowed. Shocked. They didn't win.
You don't get to come up short and get the same spoils as the victor.
Hell yeah, if that was the case, LeBron James would have met the president several more times.
Where did he do that?
Yo, speaking of LJ, right? Let's talk about playoff P. We're not talking Paul George. May he heal up in time, right? To actually join the Clippers before they get eliminated. Anyways, playoff picks. Because we know it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. Everybody's saying the Clippers going to win the finals. I mean, hey, listen. Whatever.
No, they're not.
I'm going to save my comments for when I get a chance to talk.
So for the NBA playoffs, they're all set. The play-in tournament is done. The seeding is done. I'm just curious. I'm going to start with you on this, T, then we're going to go to Aj. Who do you have winning the NBA finals? Who do you have getting into the finals? Who do you think could potentially go to the finals? What's your point? What you think?
All right, we're just going straight to the finals. All right.
Yeah.
I looked at the brackets and I started, you know, eliminating people and saying, I think these guys are going to win. These guys are going to win. You know, I was taking health into account and all that kind of stuff. And I actually have the Bucks and the Warriors in the finals together. That's who I got.
Go on.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, Aj would be happy. I got his Wolves actually going to the conference finals.
Nope.
Wolves are 9. I mean, what?
I think they're going to beat Denver. I think
they can.
Nope.
And I think Phoenix beats the Clippers, and then Minnesota takes out Phoenix because I don't think Phoenix can stay healthy enough to do it. So that's what I think. So anyway, I got the Warriors, I got the Bucks in the finals, and I'm really trying to figure out who I think is going to win that matchup. Giannis is absolutely relentless. So Antoine, we got to see them play in person. And I got to tell you, man, the guy's got one gear and it's dry. There ain't no reverse. He just does not stop. The guy is absolutely unstoppable.
He's unreal.
But my man Steph, he's unstoppable too in a different way.
Yeah.
So it's a really, I don't know which one of those two teams to pick. I mean, it's kind of a flip of a coin to me. If the Bucks hadn't won the championship, a couple of years ago, I would have easily picked the Warriors just based on experience and all that. But Giannis has gotten a taste now, and I don't. If he gets that close, I just don't see him giving it in. No, there's a gun to my head. I guess I'll have to go with Steph.
50-50 coin.
Just because I want to see him.
Okay.
Just because I want to see him win, but yeah.
Okay. Aj, what you got for us?
So I only know how to do this one way, and that's to break it down series by series, so I can get my little hits in here and there. So on the East, it's a lot easier, at least in the first round. I got the Bucks going past. I got the Cavs beating the Knicks because, I mean, it's the Knicks. I got the Sixers getting through the Nets real quickly, and I got the Celtics banishing the Hawks. I got the Bucks then beating the Cavs pretty easily again. I got the Sixers beating the Celtics in 7. So that makes it an Embiid. That makes it Embiid Giannis final as far as the Eastern Conference goes. And if ain't no way they're gonna dog me this year is a person, it's Giannis. So I got them beating the Sixers in 6. James Harden will get tired by then. Although there are no strip clubs that I know of in Milwaukee that are as enticing as other places. I think that
he'll find one. He'll find
a way, man. So I got the Bucks representing the East. In the West, I had the Wolves, of course, in 9. I got the Suns. The Suns beating the Clippers mostly because the Clippers are going to clip. I got the Warriors beating the Kings in 7 because I think the Kings are good enough to beat them, but they're not experienced enough.
Mike Brown is good too.
Yeah, he is. And he used to be on that staff. The Grizzlies and the Lakers series is honestly 50-50 ball for me. But because the Grizzlies are missing Steven Adams, the human pirate, I got the Lakers in 7. But I could see the Grizzlies winning that in 7 too. But they're just missing too many big bodies, and the Lakers are big. Like they're a big team. They're one of the bigger teams in the league. I got the Nuggets beating the Suns in 7 just because of KD's revenge is not going to happen, unfortunately. Chris Paul will probably be the one who ends up going out hurt of all of the 3 of them. I have the Warriors beating the Lakers in 7 again. It's only because I think I'm used to seeing the Warriors win games. Yeah. And the Lakers not so much. I just can't. I mean, I'm like the third player I can think of on the Lakers is Austin Reeves, and I'm like the third player I think of on the Warriors is Draymond Green. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take the Warriors out that.
Wiggins is coming back too, I think.
Who is? Yeah, Wiggins is coming back.
Yeah,
I don't really rock with Wiggins. You know what I'm saying? You know.
I know.
You know what I mean? So then I got the Nuggets versus the Warriors in the conference finals, and I got the Nuggets edging them out.
You got the what?
I have the Nuggets beating the Warriors. And the reason why I have the Nuggets beating the Warriors is because I think the Nuggets were there maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, but people forgot that Jamal Murray got hurt for
2
years. And Jamal Murray, he's been hurt for like 2 years. And Michael Porter Jr. was hurt too. And the reason why honestly Jokic won those MVPs is because he had to do everything because those dudes were hurt. Like people are like, oh, he's such a great player. He is a great player. And he's a phenomenal player and he deserved those MVPs, but he wouldn't have had to put up those numbers if those guys were there. And it's like, it's funny, just to do a quick throwback, when he was in the All-Star game, they were like, well, your stats don't really do much when you're in the All-Star game. He's like, well, I don't have to do anything because everyone else is so good. So I just kind of run up and down the court. He literally said that. He was like, well, I mean, what do you want me to do? I don't know. I'm a loaf of bread floating down the court. But I got the Nuggets in 7 because their team is the Nuggets notoriously have one of the best rosters every year. Like they're like 10 deep every year. They're so deep they got rid of Bol, just cast him out to Orlando. He's out here starting, getting 18 a night. Like, and that dude couldn't see the floor. He couldn't get on the floor. You understand? Mike Malone's a good coach, you know? So I got Nuggets versus Bucks. I don't know how many people will watch. I'll watch because I'm a basketball fan, and I got the Bucks in 6. Giannis gets his 2nd, and he solidifies all the things that people said about him, and that's where it goes. That's it.
Bucks.
Yeah, nah, no one's got it. No one's got it. I mean, Bobby Portis, come on, man. Oh, Bobby, man. Get out of here. Nobody's touching that guy.
Bobby Portis is like the doorman at a fancy club.
That's enough. He looks like Tim's in a flannel. He looks like Tim's in a flannel.
Oh man.
I'm gonna jump in here, right? So, my playoff sheet is a little different here. So, I'll start at the bottom. I have the Hawks beating the Celtics. Hawks, people forget,
What?
were just they were just in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're young. They got a really good coach, Quentin Snyder, and I think he has those boys ready to ball. It's just about
that's allegedly. I'm just playing.
listen, and it keeps them going. It's provocative. No, I think they're going to beat them and pull the upset. I do think 76ers win easily over Brooklyn. Cavs over Knicks. My heart is always in South Beach, but I know the Bucks are going to wipe the floor with them, right? At least in 6 at minimum, at maximum, rather. I think the Bucks are then going to turn around and beat the Cavs. Cavs don't have enough experience or depth there. I think that the 76ers, again, there's going to be an upset. Joel Embiid is good until he plays against athletic bigs who can DM up. I think the Hawks pull that upset. I do. Trey, people forget how cold Trey Young is, but it's DeJounte Murray that helps to take the pressure off of him as well. People forgot about that pickup. And John Collins is nasty still. So that's going to be a good one. I do have the Bucks winning over the Hawks and going to the NBA Finals. So that's just my pick there. I don't think anybody's going to stop Giannis this time. I go over to the Western Conference. I don't, as much as I love Ant Dog, I don't think they stand a snowball's chance in hell against the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are going to beat them. Listen, maybe 10, 11, or 12, and they might win one of them. My boy Jamal Murray is back. It's about to be a workshop class there. I'm going to call something that I thought I'd never say. I think KD's best days are behind him, and I think Russ gets revenge. I think the Clippers win that first round series. Devin Booker's not tough enough for me in terms of when he gets defense on him. I think the Clippers are going to win that series. Ty Lue is a great coach.
He is.
That's where that buck stops there.
Ty Lue's a great coach when he's coaching LeBron James. Moving on.
I mean, the Clippers they're a good seed. Listen, they've had a lot of injuries this year and still managed to play. They're a deep team. But they're the Clippers.
Clippers going to do
it. That's it.
I
think the Warriors do win in 7 over the Kings. I love the Kings, love their young core, but I think Steph getting Wiggins back is the reason why I'm making that pick. If Wiggins was going to continue to be out, it would have been over in that first round. And I have the Lakers beating the Grizzlies because I just don't think the Grizzlies are ready. I have the Lakers, personal pick, heart over mind over the Warriors because I just think that the Lakers have exciting pieces. It's a matter of when Malik Beasley and those boys are going to turn it on. Austin Reeves has been consistent, but when I think LeBron James, I think Austin Reeves. When it should be, I think AD. And so that's kind of my troubling pick there. You don't know which AD is going to show up. You don't know if he's going to show up, and you don't know if he's going to be healthy. But I'll pick them over the Warriors, and I have the Nuggets and Lakers essentially in the Western Conference Finals, which again, AD has played well against Jokic, and I think the Lakers have the better role players and off the bench. I think Dennis the Menace is too good. I think old buddy used to be with the Spurs that hadn't gotten a lot of game playing time in the playoffs so far. He's good.
Walker.
Yeah, Walker. Yeah, Walker's good.
He's pretty good.
So they have some pieces. I picked the Lakers to actually go to the finals against the Bucks, in which I picked the Bucks to win. I don't want to say how because I think it would be bad. But
hey, before Greg goes, I thought the Nuggets had a bunch. I thought like all their guys were hurt. Their guys are back.
They're in and out. Yeah.
They're working their way back in, which is a bad sign, which means they're not going to do anything because they're going to be rusty. It's not going to go well for the Nuggets.
If the 2-man game works with Jamal Murray and Jokic, they can go far on that because they should have went further a few years back as well. But again, injuries took the best.
Yeah, but both of them guys are banged up. That's the reason why I got the Wolves beating the Nuggets because I just thought the Nuggets were too banged up.
I'll tell you why the Wolves won't beat the Nuggets because the Wolves don't know how to hold on to a lead. Even with Mike Conley there, I don't think he can slow them down enough for them to be able. They'll be in every game. They'll be winning every game.
Oh yeah,
winning every game. They're not going to.
But I feel the same way about the Nuggets though in the playoffs.
They haven't had their squad in the playoffs. Like they haven't had their squad since the bubble.
That's true. They haven't had.
That's the thing.
That's true.
That's
To
my
your
thing.
point, Aj, do you guys remember the Portland Trailblazers about maybe 4+ years ago when they went to the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great
They
team.
were winning every game against the Warriors by almost 17 points, and they just couldn't hold on to the lead.
Yeah.
On average, 16,
Yeah.
17-point leads.
It was-
That's what I feel about this Wolves team.
Yeah.
So it's like they'll be competitive, they'll be winning, and then you'll just like go take a quick snack break and be like, wait, what happened? how
Yeah, don't miss the
did we have a
fourth
game?
quarter. The fourth quarters are going to be a doozy in that series. That's going to be that series. Wolves and 9 aside, that series is probably going to go 6 or 7.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's going to be really exciting. It might be the most exciting, end up being one of the most exciting series of all of them, outside of the Kings and Warriors. But
Yeah, that's going to be a battle of the 3-point joints, like the beam. But G, what you got for us?
You want me to go game by game or just give you my
Whatever
who I
you
think's
want.
good? Okay, this is what I feel like is going to happen in the East. I know you all picked the Bucks. I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown and Lionel Richie's stepson.
Ooh.
to make it all the way back.
help your children.
The reason being
Don't let them fight.
is that I feel like as good as Embiid's been playing this year, James Harden is probably about due to be tired or to hurt.
On the road.
So they're not going to make it all the way through. If you can tell me that Middleton's going to be 100%, I'll tell you the Bucks are going to the finals. But he's not. And plus, Tatum and them they're still mad about what happened last year, and they're trying their best to win so Jaylen Brown stays on the team, because if they don't make it, he's out. He's going to leave.
I think he's out anyway. Yeah.
But if they win, maybe not.
Where do you
maybe
think
not.
Go? Where do you think he would go?
Doesn't
I
matter.
don't know.
Out of Beantown is all he wants for the most part.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if they win, he might be willing to run it back, and they might be able to mend some of those things. I said they were so close last year. Right now, their health is good. The Sixers' health is going to end up being questionable because James Harden just ends up getting hurt during the playoffs, and Middleton's not there completely. I mean,
you remember Damon Wayans when he was playing with the Utah Jazz in the movie? When he was like,
yeah,
that's James Harden, right?
That's James
I watched
Harden.
James Harden this afternoon. I was like, come on, man.
He was knocking shots down.
But you know how James Harden is. James Harden is one good fall and a snap pack away from being out.
I know.
That's just how James rolled, and it's a shame because when he was in his prime, he couldn't get over that hump. Now, as far as the other stuff on the East, not the East, but the West. The West can go three ways for the most part. That's the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Suns. I don't think anyone else really has a legit shot. One, for the Lakers, LeBron James has got something to prove. If Anthony Davis can somehow stay healthy and actually play motivated ball at least 5 of the games out of every series, then they can go all the way. The Warriors, just a winning pedigree. And plus, they've got enough depth and experience where Wiggins can have time to work his way back into getting into game mode because he's been out for I don't know how long. The Suns, look, y'all can say what you want about KD. KD has only lost 2 games since November. I mean, he's only played in 20 of them, but he's only lost 2 games since November. KD
I don't think him and Chris Paul, I don't think they'll be able to make it through the whole playoffs.
That's the point that I was going to make. I feel like KD is good enough and the West is weak enough where he could actually go there and carry a team to the finals if he's on. I don't think Chris Paul makes it all the way through.
The Celtics last year made KD look his age.
But it's not just his age.
But
KD
they don't have that.
They're fickle against physical defense. Anytime
and they don't have that on the West.
No,
they don't got that on the West. That's why I said in the West it's a lot of finesse play. KD can just get around and move.
And look at it like
they
this.
got a shot.
I watched KD since he was at UT.
Sure,
sorry, go ahead, yo. Go ahead.
Yeah. I said the Clippers aren't doing anything because, like you said, Clippers going to clip and Kawhi going to Kawhi.
Man.
He going to end up hurt, and then Russell Westbrook's gonna try and he's either gonna end up hurt or Russell Westbrook's gonna try and do too much because he's
quadruple double.
Yeah, because he's just that guy, and he's just gonna just go, and it's not gonna end up working out for him.
Hey man, I'm not here for this slander on West, man.
Oh, it's not slander on Westbrook. It's just what Westbrook is.
I mean, they named the whole conference.
Westbrook goes hard. So in the end, I'll say this: if it's gonna end up being the Lakers, if they somehow maintain and get healthy against the Celtics, I think the Lakers beat the Celtics because
easy.
I don't think that psychologically they're ready to deal with a guy like LeBron James because they remember LeBron James beating them down. Those guys are old enough to remember LeBron James being in the East and beating them down every 5 minutes.
With the worst team.
Yeah, with the worst team. But if the Suns make it, the Celtics are going to win that in 5.
You said the Celtics will win that in 5?
They'll win it in 5.
You said the Celtics, not the Lakers.
If the Suns make it and not the Lakers, Celtics in 5. If the Lakers make it and play the Celtics, Lakers in 7.
What if the Warriors make it? You had the Warriors in there too, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, if the Warriors make it, back-to-back chance.
Yeah. They beat Boston when I didn't think they should have. They were down 2-1 and should have been 3-1, but I can't tell you.
I think that was Steph's get over though. I think that he's done as far as he's not going to win anymore, but he doesn't have to either. So
but the reason why I think that the Warriors will end up beating them again is because Tatum is going to try and do too much because he's going to be so mad about what happened to him last time. He's going to try and do too much. And he's not gonna play within his game. He's gonna be upset. You know, Draymond and all them gonna be in his ear, trying to make him make mistakes. Now, hopefully, he's mature enough to look past it to play within the games. I just know pride is a factor in all this stuff. So I got the Celtics, regardless, making it on the East.
I just don't see them out. I don't see them getting out the East, man.
I just don't think the Celtics could beat the Warriors. I mean, the coaching, man, like that. I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Warriors, like I said,
the
only team that the Celtics got a shot at winning against if they make it to the finals is the Suns.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they can beat the Lakers, and I don't think they can beat the Warriors. They can beat the Suns.
The Suns can come out of the West, and
the Suns can come out of the West. A lot of it's just matchups.
And Chris Paul is going to have a tough time because he is showing his age a bit. He's still the point guard, but I just think that those first 2 rounds are going to be brutal. And if he goes through those first couple rounds and gets to the Western Conference Finals, if he has to face the Lakers, it's a problem. He has to face Golden State, it's a problem. If by some kind of way hell freezes over and he has to face the Kings, he's really going to have a problem because that point guard is
De'Aaron's way too fast.
Yeah, like I said, Chris Paul, for the first time, he's actually maybe a liability to his team. Because you think about it, he's going to have to deal with Schroeder, who's just very, very defense-minded, and Russell, if he's actually on his game, Chris Paul can't really stop him anymore. So you got that. You know we don't want to try and see Steph. That's just too much.
Can't stop Ja.
Yeah, he don't want that. He don't want those.
Ja would be a problem.
Yeah, or Ja.
And that's Ja without hitting the 3.
Man,
that's just Ja.
Yeah, but man, who wouldn't want to see a Grizzlies Warriors second round series? Wow, that would be amazing. I almost want to lose on purpose.
And now we're back to fights. Now we're back to fights in the NBA. That's what we just
You got that certified pimp halftime ball player Dylan Brooks out there.
He talks a lot, man.
He does.
But I mean, like, he's great.
Dylan Brooks, he's like a good B-roll heel in WWE. He's like he's not like a main guy, but he's a guy that comes out and hits a chant with a chair every now and then.
He dresses like that too.
Yeah, but he never gets the belt, or he's never at SummerSlam. He's just there on a random Monday night.
But he does have a theme walk-in song.
He's got a theme walk-in song. He's a fan favorite. But he's never in title contention. He's like, he might win Money at the Bank, but none of that.
He's not in the ladder
match. He's at the occasional ladder match. Money in the Bank.
He might win an occasional ladder match. He's Christian. He's not Edge. He's
yo.
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough.
He's the third guy. In the
Marley Jannetty.
He's Marley Jannetty. He's not Shawn Michaels.
Listen, ladies, gents, hit us in the comments. Let us know your playoff who are your playoff picks. Once again, we thank you for tuning in to a new edition of TakeOff Sports Talk, our season ticket holder episode. Shout out to the Goodman brothers. Listen, much like the NBA playoffs, TakeOff Sports Talk, low key, one of the best products out there. We'll see you again soon. Peace.